Anyways, Chaz, welcome back to the Grit.
So excited to be here.
I know it's the first day where we actually have real significant surf news.
Oh, we do. I almost forgot how significant it was.
It's a big news story.
It feels like old though, doesn't it?
Kind of.
Doesn't it feel old hat at this point?
It's a great point. Yeah, it does. It's for the amount of time that we've waited.
It's crazy town.
It's kind of like, well, we knew this was coming. It is news. I'm glad to have it. I'm glad to have some information.
I guess. I mean, It's such a stinking wet rag though, I feel. I mean, why didn't they make this announcement? Clearly they were hoping. So I guess we should say what the announcement is in case people have not heard.
WSL.
World Surf League, Eric Logan, and the whole team in Santa Monica released their official word about the 2020 season. And what is it, David Lee?
So 2020 is canceled.
Done. It's a wrap.
Unlike our podcast, for all of our missteps and misspeakings,
We continue.
they got canceled.
We sally forth. They got canceled.
Who would have thunk it? So 2020 is canceled. 2021, however, starts in Hawaii in December.
Kicks off
So
the pipe.
I've asked you what justifies a rumor being published on Beach Grit. Turns out you guys are right.
100%.
Nailed it.
100%.
Nailed it.
They nailed the entire thing. Nailed it top to bottom on this one.
Can you now reveal your source?
No.
Okay.
I need more. I need that source to stay where Shim is to get more information out.
Okay. Do you have any? This is just a side note. Do you have any idea how many people got furloughed at the WSL?
I think almost everybody.
Really?
I think it's really, they've kept that pretty under wraps too. But from what I hear, it was a fairly severe bloodletting.
Okay.
I mean, anybody who deals with the tour is gone, or at least
all the
furloughed.
video production.
Yep,
all
video
that
production.
stuff.
Very clearly, no new content is coming out. So, I mean, I think just by what's going up on the website and what have you, I think it's pretty clear that everybody's gone.
So the news is 2020 is canceled. 2021 starts in Hawaii. They gave a bunch of changes for the 2021 and beyond season. So I'm going
But really, are we going to call these changes?
I think there's, let's say, two significant ones.
Okay.
But I'm going to give a quick overview and then we'll detail each of them. The tour is shifting a little bit in terms of seasonality, like the actual schedule itself. Women are going to surf Teahupo'o. Mid-season cutoff starts in 2022. The main change is that the WSL Finals day will determine a championship, an actual world title winner.
So no longer does the tour make a title. Now the final event makes a title.
Correct, but the tour still makes the final event.
Let's be honest. Does it?
So we'll detail it. But first, we have a shout out to our home studio.
The finest little surf shop in all of San Clemente, California.
I said last week, Asher Pacey's surfboard was behind you. I think that one has been delivered or he picked it up. You now have two customs for Josh Kerr.
Josh Kerr. Have you seen Josh Kerr surf his album boards?
Better than he was surfing on CT.
But this is what I'm saying, though. In terms of bang for the buck of board plus athlete, I feel that right now, Josh Kerr gives as much bang for the buck to album as any surfer riding any board. Discuss.
I completely agree. And this is an ongoing conversation on the podcast is like, how do you justify surfer salaries? What is the equitability of a surfer? When I was growing up, I thought it made a lot of sense.
Sure.
Because I was heavily influenced because the magazines had a lot of impact. And now everything's so diffused that I think the brands were still operating under that model and paying these guys. And by the way, dozens and dozens of guys and girls, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and losing track of where the actual board short sales were coming from. Right. So for some of the big brands with a big team, I don't know how they justify it. And apparently they don't, because now everybody's been cut due to COVID and even before that with bankruptcies and stuff. But Josh Kerr is a fantastic example. The one that Scott and I were talking about earlier in the week is Torrin Martin.
Yeah.
Like, so clearly he's neat essentials and he rides these Morning of the Earth surfboards.
Yep.
And he has significant influence. And now, like, you can directly tie sales to it. You're right. Album and Josh Kerr.
Two peas in a pod.
Totally.
It feels. And I feel that Josh Kerr's Instagram clips are so watchable. And the way he's surfing looks so much fun that I feel, very clearly, it's a great billboard for the Album surfboards.
It's also interesting. I don't want to speak for Album, but if I had to classify them as a genre, I would say that they're high performance alternative shapes.
Sure.
So they're not high performance pointy thrusters. They're also not, big, bulky, beefy, lots of volume, mid lengths and beyond. They're rippable boards for the everyman, basically, and which I think is probably the broadest market.
Sure.
Like you and I, guys coming out of when they thought that they ripped when they were 20 into the next decade of their life, that's what Album is for. Or that's what their widest variety of boards kind of cater to.
And Josh Kerr making it look so good.
So the other thing is I said he surfs better now than he did on tour. I just feel like he's more versatile now than he was on tour. He has all of the sharp tack sharpness that he had on tour, but now he's not confined to the judges' criteria.
He sure is quick to his feet, that Josh Kerr. Watching him pop up is something to behold.
Is there a clip that you're thinking about?
No, I just I think that when I flick through his feed and I'm always stopping, wondering how in the world did he set himself up for that section, and just seeing his real cat-like, I don't know, fast muscle, whatever it is, whatever makes you move quick.
Fast twitch.
I don't have the fast twitch.
The clip I was thinking of, because I had that exact thought, was last week or maybe earlier this week in Waco.
Oh yeah, that's
the clip where he does that turn and then falls down to his stomach.
Yes.
And gets right back into position. And he's not only gets back up to his feet really, really quickly, but into like a pouncing position right into the next maneuver,
Which I can't imagine. I haven't surfed Waco, and obviously not at all, but not nearly as much as you. I would imagine that it would be difficult to pop up so quick again once you're down on one of those waves.
He's a diminutive 5'5", maybe?
He's a little guy, but he's not a tiny guy.
He's closer to his feet than you are.
It's true, but Josh Kerr is no Idolo Ferrero.
I think he might be.
You think so?
We should check.
Okay.
I'd say they're both in the 5'5" range.
Okay.
Has there ever been in the history of surfing a better father-daughter combo?
Oh, no. I think you could make the argument that Shane and Jackson are close. If Jackson cut his hair, then the clear win would be Josh and Sierra.
Wait, if Jackson cut his hair so that it was as short as Sierra's?
Because
I think Jackson's is longer than Sierra's right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so he'd have to cut his hair shorter than Sierra's in order to get out of the father-daughter combo. But Sierra Kerr and Josh Kerr, and they both look like they're having such crazy fun too.
I know.
It doesn't look any kind of weird surf coach dad.
No.
And, preternatural daughter. She rips so stinking well too.
Totally.
In everything, skateboard.
Totally. It's amazing. And same thing with Jackson.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
talented.
Did you see Jackson throwing at the Waco?
I could not believe that air that he did.
Yeah.
With Kelly in the background too.
Yep. Do you think Kelly? Do you think that Surf Ranch employees feel jilted when Kelly goes off and surfs Waco?
I thought about it.
Yeah.
I don't think they feel jilted. I don't think there's a jealousy, like a jilted lover sitch.
The WSL, somebody's feeling jilted here.
I think it's reconnaissance.
Sure.
Even if you own the best restaurant in town, you have to eat out somewhere else occasionally.
I get it. I get why Kelly does it, but for sure, the inventor of the plow, who's the guy, the scientist who invented the plow?
Fitchum?
Yeah, Fitchum.
Adam
Fitchum is alone at home, looking at his phone. No missed calls from Kelly. He sees Kelly at Waco. Okay.
I think so.
You
make a good point.
There has to be hurt feelings.
Yep.
This life
could be.
Every decision that we make in this life leads to somebody having their feelings hurt at the end, right? Almost every. Most decisions.
I'd have to think long and hard about that.
Well, let's talk about what you did this past weekend. You went and bought a computer.
I did.
From Costco, right?
Yep.
So I'm thinking of two hurt feelings right there. I'm thinking of all the computers you didn't buy, small hurt feelings.
We're not in an era yet where the computers have feelings. That's next
They may not, but all those hardworking Korean men designing Samsung computers, women,
you think they're concerned?
I think they have a little tinge in their heart of hurt feelings. They could have brought you over. They could have ported you into Android land or whatever, PC land, and you stayed with Mac. So Mac's feelings aren't hurt. That's okay. But I'm going to say every decision we make, feelings are hurt daily.
I'd have to do a deeper dive. I don't know that I could think through all of the scenarios to argue one way or the other in this short of a period of time.
You think about it. We'll come back.
It's like, the reason why I had to buy a new computer was to do all this video production for listeners who want to see what Chaz and I look like. We're on YouTube.
It's rough right now. I'm going to be honest.
What do you mean?
I had my first COVID haircut appointment on Wednesday, the day everything went under the lock and key again.
Oh no.
So I'm out. Yeah.
So you haven't been able to get your haircut?
I haven't had my haircut since the start of this whole thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't live in Orange County like you, the land of freedom.
What was the feedback on last week's video production? Any thoughts?
I didn't get any feedback myself. Okay. I was way more impressed with it than I think maybe our listeners. I thought that, well, this is just the most professional thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But
give them some time. They'll come around.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So the benefit of this isn't looking at Chaz and I, it is being able to see all the surf footage that we're talking about. So we're cutting in clips of everything that we discussed, the Waco footage we just discussed.
Like Jackson Dorian will be there
exactly.
doing his flip.
That air that we were talking about that we could not describe over the mics, you will be able to see visually if you've watched us on YouTube. And then also these album surfboards as well.
Yeah.
So all the beauty.
Fantastic.
Okay, so WSL.
Let's get back.
Let's do it. 2020 is canceled. Not a shock.
Nope.
We called that. We're also
2 weeks ago.
We need to also set a little side conversation throughout this. How many of these things did we recommend?
Yeah.
For months on end, if not years.
So did not recommend cutting the 2020 ever.
But we did say that they would ultimately.
Oh, I mean, we said it, I think, on air forever ago, or postulated they would. I had a verifiable rumor 2 weeks ago that said that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then that is exactly what happened. But I don't understand. Just sit on 2020 for a minute here. I don't understand two things here. So in the statement, Eric E. Logan, the World Surf League CEO, said, "We firmly believe that surfing is one of the greatest professional sport things that you can do in COVID, right? Natural, socially distanced. We can really they could really keep things locked down. Again, we rolled it out here before, the whole Fiji scenario or even the Tahiti scenario, right? Where you take the surfers, they quarantine, or at this point, I think people are even quarantining at home, getting a negative test, getting on a plane, as long as you come in negative. I mean, what is the NBA doing with the NBA bubble, right?
But they're testing daily.
They are testing daily, and you could also test daily at a surf event. A daily test is not, or at least test people if they have fevers or whatever, right? All I'm saying is surfing is a place where you can take groups of people, you can lock them down and bubble it. In the day when sport has been canceled, more or less, how was this not a gift, a bouquet of flowers left on the World Surf League porch of like, hey, this is what you've always wanted to be, a legitimate surfing or a legitimate sporting body. Guess what? All of sports got canceled. Oh, guess what else? You have a sport that can be done safely, relatively easy in isolation. I understand like flying here and there and all the other things, but that didn't have to happen in that way. I mean, all of those were they could have cut it down to 20 surfers, right? They could have done everything, and they could have done a season.
Let's unpack that.
A beautiful season.
Let's unpack that.
The best season.
The problem that they run into is various surfers from around the world traveling to one location.
Tough.
That's the problem.
But exactly.
So how do they solve that?
They solve that by cutting the draw down to 20, just saying, hey, all the surfers, we're sorry, COVID, blah, 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 force majeure, right?
Yep.
I guarantee in all of those surfer contracts, they could have bitched and moaned, whoever's, I don't know, who's the
Wade Carmichael.
Wade Carmichael could have bitched and moaned and said, but I want to surf too. And they could have said, tough beans. We only have enough for 20 surfers. It's going to be the 20 best in the world. We are going to fly these 20 surfers. We'll start. It'll be a real truncated season. It'll be 5, you know, it won't even be a championship tour.
That's what I was going to say.
It'll be a Grand Slam type thing. We're going to fly these 20 to the places where we can quarantine them, which would be Fiji, Tahiti. I'm going to go ahead and say they could have probably done Western Australia would have been easy.
Yep.
I mean,
really, islands would be the easiest.
Islands are easiest, but West Australia, the population of all of West Australia is like 18 people. So they could have kept everybody in the same hotel, et cetera, right? Now all of a sudden you have 5 epic events, not a tour, but
at least something to give people to watch.
And ESPN, I guarantee, they could have done TV deals for live. Everybody's just so hungry for sport. With 20 surfers, you can get the thing done in what? Definitely in a swell window. How long would it take to chew through? I mean, 3 days max, right? And so you could
They do it in 3 days now.
And you could figure out the exact final day with the best waves possible to serve up to, you know, your broadcast partner. All this, like, frustrating, no? This perfect time. It was a perfect storm for WSL to lift beyond its meager status and become at least a sport that people watch during the weird COVID time.
They have all the resources to do it. So they have access to the athletes. They obviously have access to, you know, flying private and that sort of thing. They wouldn't even have to rely on the infrastructure of the airline industry or anything like that.
I've flown around a few times in the COVIDs.
That's true. That's true. Totally.
You and I could figure out a way to fly around in the Cove.
But if they were really going to do it responsibly and like not infect and not be liable for if the surfers get or the athletes get COVID via transit.
Sure. But the athletes would have to opt in.
Exactly. So opt in. We bring you to wherever. We test you. We can all fly together.
Yep.
And be quarantined and run these specialty events essentially. I think we may have talked about this even months ago. That would have been the biggest PR, if for nothing other than a PR stunt, because while NBA, NFL, everybody's sitting on their hands for one organization to stand up and be like, we've solved this. And all of these eyeballs that have nowhere to go while everybody else is watching reruns of old rugby matches, we're going to actually provide brand new content and it's going to be spectacular because it's spinning tubes on a reef somewhere in the South Pacific.
Precisely.
And by the way, 20 is too many. They could have done it 5 guys.
Sure. G-Land? I mean, 10.
G-Land would have been amazing.
They could have done 10. Yeah. They could have done 5.
Just Gabriel Medina, Kelly Slater, John Florence, Idolo. Like that. That's all we really want to watch it. Anyways,
Kalohe.
We don't want to watch Felipe at G-Land.
I do.
Watch him not go.
Yeah, watching Felipe chicken out is like a sport unto itself right now.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's epic.
They could still do lawn patrol on site. Everybody show. I'm just kidding.
They would just think. I mean, really though,
so that absolutely should have done it.
Completely should have done it. And what do you like?
I've got a secondary should have done.
Yeah, let's hear it. I love our should have dones. I mean, damn it,
everything's clear in hindsight. But by the way, they could still implement this today. We still have time on the books.
So this is the problem. Is again, I think I've talked about it here. I've lived most of my life thinking organizations like, you know, big corporate organizations, I do not understand what's happening in them. I've never really worked in a corporate structure. They clearly know things. They have access to information that I don't have. So I generally trust or have trusted, okay, you know, they see things I don't. They clearly know, like the stinking Fed or whatever, right? I don't know. Sure, I think I can see this, that, and the other thing, but no way could I make monetary decisions, right?
Right.
With regard to the World Surf League, not only can they could have done every one of these things. I see everything they see.
And we also told them to do it 3 months ago.
Yeah, it's a colossal failure of leadership, I think.
That's what I've been harping on too. It is a leadership issue.
Colossal failure.
Yeah. Here's another should have done. This seems so simple to me. And again, sure, with hindsight, but go ahead and implement this next week.
Yeah.
And for the next few months, because You're clearly not running events during this time.
No.
So should have partnered with every independent content creator out there, from Ben Gravy to Jamie O'Brien, even our podcasts. Like, take the top 5 vloggers, the top 5 websites, the top 5 podcasts, and basically say, hey, we want Jamie O'Brien's vlog presented by the WSL.
Yeah.
And we're right now, our hands are tied for a various number of reasons in terms of creating content. So we're not producing contests, and we're also not able to run video production to go create the content that we would want to create otherwise. However, Jamie O'Brien hasn't missed a day of work throughout quarantine.
No.
The guy pumps out 2 videos a week. He accesses the WSL's exact audience that they're trying to grow to. He has already grown to that audience to the level that they wish that they could be at, and he's done it. He's completely vertical. He owns all the equipment. He films it all, does all the production, post-production himself, and disseminates the content for them, just like we do. And all they would have to do is say, we just want it to be presented by the WSL. We don't need to own the content. We're not going to exclusively stream on our site. You keep doing exactly what you're doing. We just want Jamie O'Brien's vlog presented by the WSL.
Easy.
We would have done this. If they presented that idea to me 3 months ago or next week, I would have done it cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap. It would cost them very little money.
It's more expensive every day, though, I'll say.
Well, because the more viewership you have.
Well, also,
Jamie O'Brien doing it to his 500,000 YouTube subscribers is more than us, and it would be more than if he had 250,000. And he's going to have more tomorrow than he had today, so it will get more expensive.
The problem, though,
but it's still cheaper than anything else that they're trying to do.
I mean, the problem is, though, as every platform is now more valuable than the WSL platform has such little value. Like, they don't generate views. They don't really have an audience anymore. I feel that whoever was looking at WSL stuff is no longer going, right?
Exactly.
Like,
no.
So they have shed every eyeball that they may have started to get through last year's tour. Exciting finish, right? I mean, finals day with Idolo and Gabe.
Totally. And this would allow them to realign with everybody in 1 week's time. And it would be the total cost of partnering with all of us would be less than 1 day of filming for whatever it is that they're trying to do otherwise. Like 1 day of filming at the Ultimate Surfer, which, by the way, won't execute any of the things that they're trying to and that you can do with this other business model.
Unless Jonah Hill is there.
Right. Exactly.
Which
I don't think he is. There was Elo posted last night with Billy Kemper.
Yeah.
I'm like, is Billy at Surf Ranch?
Is he?
So Billy Kemper's at Surf Ranch, so maybe he's a contestant.
Oh my goodness. But if that's it, I mean,
I know.
Love Billy Kemper. Nothing against Billy Kemper. I do not want to see Billy Kemper fight for a spot on the CT that, who cares? Billy Kemper's
he'll lose round 1 every time.
He's not a CT surfer. No, he is not a CT surfer.
Exactly.
He's a big wave surfer who can do really well at pipeline and big barreling waves.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, okay.
So this wet rag of a season, though, here's the warmed over
idea.
Surf Ranch is in the middle again. Like, there's nothing new. That's what I'm saying. There is nothing new. I get that the final day surf off thing is supposed to be new, but that's just a bad idea.
I disagree. Let's end with that idea.
Okay.
Let's work our way through it, because if we need to tell the people what the actual changes are. So 2021 is going to, as you reported on Beach Grit a month ago, 2021 season is going to start in December in Hawaii.
Pipeline. For
the men, Honolulu for the women. Do you think that's actually going to happen?
No.
I don't either.
I don't see I see us in phase 7 of COVID paranoia at that point.
Exactly.
I mean, it sort of depends on how sick people are of being scared.
I think yes, but more importantly, will Hawaii let us in?
I mean, that's...
Hawaii holds the cards right now.
Well, and Hawaii is...
And they don't want...
No, definitely not. But I guess what would they do? Everybody'd have to go real early. They'd have to do the exact same thing we've already talked about them doing, is getting the surfers. The surfers will for sure have to get test negative before they get on the plane. They'll get tested after they get off the plane. They'll probably be in some kind of semi or full quarantine for 5 days or whatever, and then off they go.
So currently, if you go to Hawaii, you are forced to do a quarantine for 2 weeks.
The police come and knock on your door, do they not?
Yeah, and I've heard even the locals rat you out.
Yeah.
Like if they see you come.
I mean, I think the locals can't wait to rat you out.
For sure.
Yeah.
So if they see you coming out of the airport, they know.
Eyes on.
Eyes on, and then they see you check into a hotel, eyes on. And if they see you walk out of that hotel to go get food later, they're calling the cops.
Yeah.
That's been happening. But apparently they're lifting that, is scheduled to lift in August. Whether that happens or not.
But okay, let's just assume for sake of argument that we're all fine by just there's a vaccine, whatever. Why in the world though? Pipeline is not best in December. Everybody knows this.
Right.
Pipeline is best in February. If you're shifting things around, and I understand, whatever licensees and permits and all this, but I would imagine that in the day and age of COVID too, all of this stuff is really up in the air, right? I mean, WSL could go to Honolulu and say, "Hey, look it, we want to shift with," because they own another license in. I mean, isn't there the Volcom is a 6-star, whatever, right? I mean, I guess who owns the license, but whatever. Let's assume that they could change it. Why not at least try to change it to February when pipe is the best,
right? Which
or January
is what they're going to be doing in 2020.
No.
Oh no, you're right.
They can't get the permits. Right. They tried. That's what they want to do. Right. One other thing, you're having pipe when it's not the best. The other problem is starting the season at pipe gives. I saw somebody. Oh, it was Carl von Foningstad, a very, very funny cartoon he put on the comments on Beach Grit today. A Dr. Seuss one about basically everybody who wants to sis out will sis out. Like, there's no more compunction to paddle into it's not like the build up at the end of the season. Right. It's just the start. People play it kind of easy at the start already. Hey, I just don't want to get hurt. So there's going to be a level of caution at this pipe opener that we've never seen in our life, which is going to rip the heart of pipe right out, I believe, of watching people throw themselves over the lip, because this is it, right? They've been grinding all year on tour, and this is their chance to either make it above the cut, to try to win the title, people always, the stakes at pipe are such that people paddle into waves that maybe they wouldn't typically paddle into due to fear. Philippe Toledo is going to be sitting out of the back of big pipe, not paddling on anything. Who cares? It's just it's a season 1, whatever, first event of the year, bad result. Who cares?
So yes, it changes the dynamic, but I think in a good way. This forces everybody to elevate their game immediately. This eliminates that round 1, like, oh, who really cares how well I do because I can make it up later in the season. And not just starting with pipe, but having the mid-season cutoff that they're going to do in 2022. It requires you to perform at your fullest in those first 5 events because there's no gimmies.
Mark my words, though. There's going to be a lot of pullbacks.
Then they need good. Boot them.
Yeah.
Boot them off tour because we don't want them anyways.
Yeah.
We want the hell charger.
That's true.
So I think that this services the goal of like
watching people puss. I mean, I guess that's what my new favorite sport is watching people not go. So,
but that'll only happen for the first, let's say, 3 or 4 years. And once enough people see people lose their career by doing that, people will show up ready to throw.
Well, let's see.
You know what I mean?
We'll see. I think there's going to be a lot. I don't want to get hurt. For
there
the
will
next
be.
Event.
Yeah, there will be.
Yeah.
And then true hell chargers will stand up and take their spot. How long does Carl von Foningstad take to write these complete stories in the comment section?
It is so good.
I'm like, this article was posted 8 minutes ago, and he wrote a longer response to it than it took you to write the article. Within 8 minutes, he's got like a 30-minute long dissertation.
True artist. Yeah,
it's pretty impressive.
With it, he has Photoshop skills. He gets funny with picture. I mean, he's a modern internet renaissance man.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive. He does more work than we do
by far. So starting at pipe.
Okay, so the other thing. So let's back up a little bit. Challenger Series. There's going to be 2 tours happening.
Yeah.
The CT runs December through September, basically. There's a month overlap kind of between the two, but the Challenger Series runs from August through December. So the idea is that there isn't the qualifying series and the Championship Tours series running simultaneously. And when that was happening, a lot of surfers had their attention diffused because they were trying to make up. If they weren't going to requalify, then they'd surf the QS events and make up points. This allows a lot more focus. Or just focus on the CT during this season. And if you do get bumped off, you can earn your spot through the Challenger Series and be back on tour next season.
I like this idea.
I do too.
This is a great idea.
I do too.
But they rolled that idea out a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, but I think this is kind of the big unlock for
all of it
to make sense and for the rest of it to work.
Talk about a stinking piddly rollout of an idea.
Yeah.
Like being super late, being behind everybody in terms of breaking it. And then like what? It came out like at 4 a.m. this morning or something, right? Friday morning at 4 a.m. or something is when it dropped. Sweet.
So in regard to the schedule, Portugal is a big move. Portugal was taking place in October previously. They're moving that to February. So we'll go Hawaii in December, Portugal in February, the Gold Coast in March, which is same that it was before. Yep. Bells, Margaret in April. Then we'll do the mid-season cut in 2022, not this year, but in 2022, that's where the cut will be. So if you are not in the top, by the way, and the cut is from 36 men down to 18, and for the women, 24 women down to 12.
Then you're done.
So if you're not in the top 18 men and the top 12 women
Gone.
After Margaret, you don't get to surf G-Land, J-Bay, Tahiti, or the finals thing.
That'll be fun. But they really threw, I'm going to say, not the best venues at the surfers at the start.
You have to earn your way through you have to slog through.
Australia, basically.
Well, I mean, Gold Coast, they get Hawaii, they get Gold Coast.
Oh.
So, but I love the idea of the cut. I love the idea of reducing the tour. I think that's a great move. I also love the idea that they can earn their way back through the Challenger Series
by the next season.
Yeah. I think this all, again, creates everything to a pointy tip of the spear where the cream will rise to the top a lot quicker.
For sure.
Forces you to.
Yep. Bravo to the World Surf League for this format, I will say.
I mean,
said it before, say it again.
In full, right? Yeah, totally. And in full contrast, the reason why this is better is, remember round 1, round 2 of last year, round 3, like the non-elimination rounds, we'd make it to the second and a half day of competition and 4 people lost.
The entire time.
Out of all of the heats that they ran, 4 people lost. And the 4 people were like Leonardo Fioravanti, Federico Moraes. Yeah. Like it was, who cares if those guys lose? If we spent 2 days of competition just so these guys could lose, I could have told you that at the onset. And we ran in good waves, and now the waves are crappy for the people that we want to watch surf, you know? It was ridiculous. Yeah. And tons of expense.
Yeah.
And tons of people, all of those hardworking employees and photographers, like Bad Boy Rai, sitting on the beach for 2 days, getting kind of nothing worth shooting. Yep. Like it's a waste of everybody's time, right? Anyways, after the cut, we go Rio in May, Surf Ranch in June, G-Land in June, J-Bay in July, Tahiti in August, and then the WSL Finals in September.
Trestles.
Maybe.
I mean,
that's what you guys said, right? That's your rumor?
That's what I'm holding by that one.
Okay.
I'm not as firm on it, but I think Trestles, from what I hear, Trestles is very much in play.
So I'll explain what the finals day is going to look like, and then we can decide whether or not Trestles makes sense for it.
Yeah.
Finals day. So following these 10 events for the men and the women, by the way, the women now have 10 events equal to the men because they're going to be surfing Tahiti, Teahupo'o, which we should also talk about. So you can earn your way into the WSL finals day and vie for a world title if you're in the top 5. Yeah. The top 5 men and the top 5 women get access to finals day. It'll be a linear format. So the number 1 ranked surfer in the world is already seeded into the final, essentially. So number 4 and number 5 surf heat 1 against each other. Whoever wins that heat surfs against the number 3 ranked surfer. Whoever wins that heat surfs against the number 2 ranked surfer. Whoever wins that surfs against the number 1 ranked surfer. And they run 3 heats. The best out of 3 heats wins. So I think this is a phenomenal idea. I think this makes a lot of sense. the one caveat I have or question mark I have is that in the scenario where the 5th ranked surfer makes it to the final, they would have had to have surfed, I think, 6 heats throughout the day. That's a lot of heats to surf. Whereas the number 1 ranked surfer would only have to surf the 3 in theory, unless they wanted in 2.
Don't like this, not one bit at all, David Lee.
Oh man,
I like this for a novelty event, something fun, right? Something cute. Not to decide that. I mean, the whole point is, again, it is the tour that makes a title, David Lee. It is being able to surf all those waves well is a real something, right? Being able to do Pipeline, Teahupoo, J-Bay, Gold Coast, like the high performance kind of thing you need at Gold Coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
The being able to go big left barrels at Teahupoo, being able to either do big left barrels or big right barrels at Pipe. J-Bay, like those,
rail game,
those beautiful walls. You have to be a complete surfer. I feel that the number 5, so you can be a number 5 surfer in the world and not be all that complete, right? You can have some real tossaways. But if this finals day is at a wave that plays to one of your skills, say it is Filipe Toledo, gets to be number 5, say he like fully doesn't even paddle at Pipe or at Teahupoo, he gets enough kind of wimpy waves at Pipe to be able to get through a couple heats, right? Like, and he could go into, if it's at Trestle, say, Filipe Toledo could go, even if he's the number 5 surfer, could easily surf his 6 heats, whatever, and have a shot to smash anybody. Now, is Filipe Toledo a proper champion? Would you, in that scenario, say Filipe, honest to goodness, sits out Teahupoo, sits out, like full on sits out Teahupoo, just says, I am scared, not doing it. Doesn't really do, I mean, you can surf Pipe, I feel, and get enough kind of score without supercharging to win a heat or 2, maybe.
It depends. I guess if it's at the beginning of the season, there's 32 surfers. It runs over the course of enough days that you're right. You could get not the big days.
Yeah.
Get like 6-foot barrels at backdoor and make it through the event. But if it was the 18-person tour, they're only going to run it in optimal conditions, and then you really would have to charge it.
But even still, I'm going to say that Filipe Toledo could make it to number 5.
I see where you're going.
Easily without even getting barreled.
So in the previous versions of the tour, they throw out your 2 worst results. Will they do that in this new format?
I don't think they can because there's not enough.
Because if they do, then you're right. Filipe could sit out 2 events.
Full on sit.
Which would be a crime.
Sure.
But
I'm just saying this new format doesn't give us the best surfer in the world. This new format gives us the best surfer on one day at one specific location, no matter how you want to dice it. Like, sure, you got to get through the rest of but the tour all of a sudden now doesn't matter. What? So if this
you have to get to the top 5 position to get into the finals.
But why don't they just do something like this at all stops then? Like where each event has its own champion, basically, and that's it. You don't tie them together like it used to be. Like there's no world champion. There is you can win a Grand Slam, say. So you could win if you won Pipe, J-Bay, and Snapper. If you won those 3, then it's like win the Triple Crown for horse racing, right? Like that's a big, big deal, and it shows that you're the best progressively charged, best charger and best.
I'm not opposed to that idea either. But I think that this still services the original goal, which is finding the best surfer in the world over the course of a
I don't think you get it though. I think you get the best surfer over the course of a day is what you'll end up getting.
But they had to earn their way into that position throughout all of those other venues.
But also conversely here, what if let's say I love me some Kyle Abelli. He's everybody's favorite surfer now after his fantastic Beach Grit interview. How good was he on Dirty Water?
I'll listen to it later.
Yeah, listen. You and Party Pete. But Kyle,
I wanted him to be like, I'll watch it later.
Yeah.
No. Because now we're on YouTube.
Yeah. He doesn't care about that.
Maybe he didn't know. Yeah.
Kyle, though, could conceivably be number 5. And what if number 5 event is at, I mean, I guess Kaio's a pretty well-rounded surfer. I was trying to think of somebody who doesn't have an air game. Who doesn't have an air game at all?
Let's throw Wade Carmichael in here again.
Okay, so Wade Carmichael somehow sneaks into number 5, and it is at, say, finals day is at Ledging, I don't know, where some big, let's say it's at Fiji, right? Let's say it's cloud break, and it's just pumping cloud break. Wade Carmichael throws himself over the lip enough times. Felipe Toledo doesn't. Wade Carmichael wins, even though maybe Felipe had a fantastic season.
Yeah, I don't see those things. I think this, again, because of the Challenger Series, the way that the season is now reworked, you're going to get the cream of the crop is going to rise to the top. And there's not going to be the opportunity for some lesser surfer or inadequate surfer to find themselves in the top 5. Like the top 10 in the last 2 years has been more competitive than the top 3 was previously. There's more better surfers vying for those positions than there ever was before. And I think the Challenger Series will even make it more intense. So I don't see a scenario where there's somebody who isn't well-rounded that finds themselves in the top 5. And even once that finals day happens, I don't think there's going to be a slouch. I don't think anybody's going to miss a step. Those guys are such high-level competitors. Last year, for example, the names were Italo, Gabriel, Jordy, Felipe, and Kaloe are the top 5. All of those guys deserve a chance at the title.
I mean, did they though? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Only Italo and Gabriel really,
and they earned it.
Yeah, but also if one of those guys if Gabe or Italo would have fallen off early, had like some shock rip pipe, and somebody would have come up from the, swinging in from the back, and if Kalohe somehow miracle beyond miracles, right? Like if everybody fell and all the cards fell into place for him and he won, but he would be the legit champion. Because that's how things work. I feel they're trying to recreate the drama of last year, which they openly state. They say, we loved that, and they're trying to recreate drama. You don't need to it just is what it is. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. I think in the attempted recreation, you mess with the tour. You don't need it.
I think it needed to be messed with.
It's unnecessary.
I think it needed to be messed with.
What needs to be messed with on tour, I think, is like too many Australian stops. I mean, there's still the same problems. Dumb windows, surfing places when they shouldn't be there, like Pipeline in December. There's plenty of problems. I don't think structurally nobody has ever said we're not getting the right champion at the end of every year. That has never been a problem. So they're addressing a problem that nobody, of all the myriad problems that professional surfing has, I think by and large, we all agree. And by and large, I mean, everyone. Nobody says Italo wasn't champion last year.
No, you make a good point that we do end up with the right champ each year.
Always.
But
it's the one thing
there's a lot of dead weight and fat along the way and wasted time and resource and all that sort of stuff.
Cut all of that. I mean,
so I think that is what this goal is. And also to make the final day, they can forecast in advance. Like with this structure, WSL Finals is what they're calling that 11th event. They can pick now for next year. It'll take place in this 1 week. Maybe not the exact day, but it'll take place in this 1 week at this one location. And we know that we're going to have a fireworks show. Because what nobody is saying, or what nobody has said, is the top surfers rarely surf against one another.
Yeah.
In the WSL CTs that we've had for the last decades, Italo and Gabe don't really surf against each other. John and Kelly don't really surf, or John and Gabriel don't really surf against each other. So this ensures that we're going to get that for this pinnacle event in this 1 week in whatever the month is, August.
Still don't like it.
Now, what do you think about the idea of that final event is going to be a rotating location, kind of like the Rip Curl Search model?
I mean, I think it would have to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, they could say we're going to do it at Trestles every year, or we're going to do it on a boat trip in Indo every year, and then maybe we go to we have a few different options there. But they haven't stated where 2021 will take place, but I love the idea of it, of a Rip Curl Search model.
I mean, it has to rotate, I think, right? Like if it's if the final day, say, is always at Trestles, then that's just straight up not fair. If that's where you're going to crown the best surfer in the world, at who all you need to do is, bigger and bigger alley-oops,
But
does that make the best surfer in the world?
It doesn't. But I was thinking of this top 5 list that I just read. It actually trestles works for those guys. I think nobody has a distinct advantage.
Sure.
You would have, when you said Felipe, I thought, yeah, you're right. Felipe will smoke. But no. Ido's got a chance there. Sure. Gabriel, Kaloe, Jordy certainly does. So what venue would benefit one surfer over the other? Maybe a barreling, like a really ledgy, scary barrel.
I mean, I think cloud break would, like big cloud break would, I mean, Philippe is already out of that conversation.
Out of those guys, I read Philippe's out of that conversation, but good. Like
sure.
I love the idea that the venue does eliminate some people. Like that's good. You need to learn. You need to step up your game essentially.
For sure. But I still think that, again, that WSL, one problem they didn't have was crowning a proper champion. That's somehow the problem or the fake problem they decided to address with all of this.
Yeah.
Like it's just, to me, it's just unnecessary. Why? I mean, which years have, since the WSL has been holding the reins, has there been a worthless pipe season, right? I mean, last year, sure, it all culminated in the final heat, which was great. But pipe is always impactful and meaningful. Or the last event of the year, obviously they're starting in pipe now, but the last event of the year, there's always enough storylines. You don't need this I don't think you necessarily need the storyline of, who is going to be the last surfer standing when the buzzer sounds at the end. And that's our champion. I think it's artificial.
What do you feel? And by the way, I didn't say this, but the men and women's WSL Finals Day will be running simultaneously at the same exact venue. So the top 5 women will be competing alongside the top 5 men, just basically staggering heats, one men's heat, one women's heat throughout the day. I could see there being a problem with an event, like let's say it was at Barra.
Sure.
Where it's a long right-hand point break, that might advantage the regular footed surfer. Cloud break doesn't advantage the front side surfer, the goofy foot surfer in that case as much because there's benefits to being backside at cloud break. But somewhere like Barra benefits the front side surfer for sure. So they'll have to factor in some decisions like that. Maybe even get a left and right, like pipes left and right.
Sure, but again, they're creating solutions. I mean, they're creating more problems to try to solve something that was never a problem. Like, again, not one surf fan has ever said that was a bummer or a not fair. CJ Hobgood, winning a truncated, 2001 season, right?
Yeah.
That's the only time that you ever hear people say, well, he shouldn't have won. I mean,
right.
Not that even.
But nobody even says that. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Women surfing chopes. So women will be surfing Tahiti, presumably in 2021. They haven't done this. They haven't run an event there since 2006.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's great. I'm all for women at chopes. No?
The concern is...
Too big.
Yeah. Can they perform at chopes? If the waves are big and gnarly, will they perform? Can they?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think like progression in general, I think we've been not looking as much, but funny, what was I watching? Some clip of some little ripper girl the other day who pulled some insane air where, I mean, I just think...
At Waco.
Yeah, Waco. Who was that girl?
Erin Brooks, maybe?
Yeah, it was a crazy town.
Full air rev, like crazy.
Yeah, like a great...
12 years old.
12-year-old girl. So all to say that women are progressing too, right? So it's, I mean, as the years go, I think what would have been deemed ill-advised or dangerous 2 years ago no longer is today.
So the example being, let me just make sure I got her. Yeah, Erin Brooks. At Erin Brooks Surf. Yeah. Watch our YouTube clip right now and you'll see this.
Ripping below. Look at that. How perfect that is. So
the example would be Jaws, running the women's event at Jaws, where they were out of position for almost every single set that came through. 2 of the women went to the hospital. Nobody completed it. Keala Kenley, when she won the event, hadn't even completed a ride throughout the event.
But Teahupoo ain't Jaws.
Well, they're totally different waves, but you do, if it was pumping chopes, you do potentially creates a liability for the WSL.
I mean, I think they have to, like what would be considered safe conditions for the women to paddle chope would be slightly different than what the men would be okay for the men. But if it's already like code redding out, I mean, they oftentimes don't run the men. I mean, they're pretty timid about putting the men out there in crazy conditions.
And the men oftentimes don't even go.
Yeah.
Like even when the event's on, a lot of times guys cower on the shoulder. Not a lot of times, but men do. Felipe, William Cardoso.
Precisely.
So I think I agree with you. I think this is a really good move.
Sure.
I think,
and it'll push women surfing too, I think.
Exactly. Like with places like Chopes, time in the water is key. You need experience out there, and maybe they don't get 10-point rides, like crazy rides this year, but they need opportunities to get time in the water.
Well, and I have to think too,
with safety in place and all that sort of stuff.
I'm certain
Rescue
that
teams.
all this was vetted through the surfers. So
for sure. Yeah.
So that means the girls picked Teahupoo. The girls wanted to go to Teahupoo.
I have a feeling some did more than others.
Obviously.
I could see like Tatiana Weston Webb, Carissa Moore.
But there's enough of them.
Yeah.
So there was enough, and or the vocal, the vocal ones were like, we want Teahupoo.
Yep.
Otherwise, if the girls were like, we don't know, then I'm sure they wouldn't have put it on. They could have figured something else out.
But I do love the idea of, with enough time and experience, let's just say 5 years down the road, women getting blown out of massive barrels out there, and you can't get to that point of progression without running the events there.
But it's for sure coming. I think the idea of just women not having the physical ability to hang with it it just gets proven wrong daily. Again, back to 12-year-old girls doing full rotations. Like, I mean, progression just is what it is. And
totally,
it's coming.
There's no stopping it.
No stopping.
So this WSL news, did you watch the Eric Logan video or did you just read the text?
I tried to find the Eric Logan video, but I couldn't. I mean, I guess I just looked on YouTube, but I couldn't find it on YouTube.
Well, not only is it on their website, it's not an embedded YouTube player or video. It's Adobe Flash.
Oh, that's why I couldn't. So
is this weird? Like, this is the purported media company at this point, the WSL Studios, is playing their videos via
Adobe
the most
Flash.
Outdated media player that exists.
That's crazy.
How weird is that?
Well, why wasn't it on YouTube? I mean, there was some sense here that they really wanted to bury this announcement, and I don't know why. Did they blow it so badly in getting scooped by Beach Grit for weeks ago and not delivering anything new? I mean, they delivered exactly what we said they were going to deliver. They delivered it. I don't know why you're doing your big announcement at 4 a.m. on a Friday morning.
Was that
West Coast
prime time for somebody else?
7 a.m. East Coast? No, I don't think you make your big announcements on Friday to begin with. It just seems, but putting it on Adobe Flash, how
crazy is that?
I really think they wanted to bury it. They wanted it to sound like they announced this months ago, and now we're all business as usual.
I don't get it at all. I don't know if it's a furlough issue, like the staffers who would normally be making, they got furloughed.
Even the branding behind it, like the fluorescent green.
I was wondering where that color came from too.
Bizarre art kind of direction. Like,
it might be furlough related.
It could be. I mean, Elo could have been fiddling on his Photoshop and then had to hurry up and upload his Adobe Flash.
That'd be wild
player.
If that is.
I mean, could
be.
But
so I think I mentioned this a while back. The Lawn Patrol thing. It was like, I wanted to watch the Jack Freestone Lawn Patrol thing because somebody told me about it. And I just went to YouTube, typed in WSL, pulled up their channels, and I saw 3 Lawn Patrols, but I know that there's like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
So then I find myself on the WSL's website scouring, and it's hard to kind of find what you want to find. And sure enough, they had all the episodes there. So I was thinking, oh, well, maybe they are privatizing the content. They want you to go to YouTube, or they want you to go to their website rather than YouTube. But that didn't make any sense either, because they're releasing some new things on YouTube, but not all new things. It became evident to me that there was no plan being followed.
Yeah.
Some things get uploaded to YouTube. Some things get uploaded to the website. This exact announcement, like you just said, either they're trying to bury it, or if you want this announcement to get to the largest number of people, you would put it on YouTube and blast it out from there, right? And then embed that on your website. It just makes no sense. And then beyond all of that, why is the player that you're using on your website Adobe Flash, which generally doesn't even run on most people's computers because there's an update every 3 days. So unless it's updated all the time, like it was just so confused. Every step of it is confusing and mishandled.
But that's the thing. And I guarantee though that there was 8 million Zoom calls ahead of this announcement of how, with the lawn patrols too. Like if I know anything about corporate culture, there's no lack of meetings, right? So I guarantee there's all kinds of meetings about all kinds of this stuff. And then this is like what rolls out is, honest to goodness, an 8th grader could figure out a more kind of seamless, like an 8th grader public school kid with no interest. If you said, hey, we have an announcement to make, what should we do? He's like, oh, put it on YouTube and Instagram and whatever. But they don't even do that.
So back to my original idea of like, you guys should have partnered with all of the independent content creators that are accessing the exact audience that you guys want to access, and they're doing it 2 times a week. They could leverage those relationships to help them disseminate this type of information too.
Sure.
Like, hey, Jamie, at the end and the beginning of your thing, just mention the WSL has big news about the 2021 season.
Yep.
Click over to their video, and that's the little thing that auto plays at the end of Jamie's video.
Yeah.
Like little details like that would just funnel all of the traffic back to the things that they want.
They don't know. I mean, the crazy thing though is
Jamie's not an 8th grader, but he is doing exactly what you're saying. He's doing it better than they're doing it.
Yeah. But so, okay. At the end, though, right? After all this whole new tour announced, whatever. It's like same old, really, with a couple tweaks. How long is this going to last? Is this the last year of professional? Is the 2021 season? And let's, COVID aside, let's pretend all the events run. How much longer does this go? It feels to me like they shed so much audience with mishandling the COVID era by not having any good original content to play in lieu of professional surfing. Professional surfing is going to come back with an audience half as big, right? When you haven't watched surfing for a year, only the diehards are going to come back, right? Unless they do a giant media spend to gin up interest, and or I guess back to the Ultimate Surfer, maybe that's the big plan. Ultimate Surfer comes out in September, just in time to hype people for Pipeline, and then we take that audience that we built for the Ultimate Surfer. Presumably, the winner surfs the events, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what you get as a couple wild cards?
Yep.
Winning Ultimate Surfer.
That's what they reported in the original press release.
So
that was the big goal at the end.
Seth Moniz, you are the Ultimate Surfer. He goes in and surfs. Now Seth Moniz has a big fan base because of Ultimate Surfer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be the hope, right?
It's got to be, but
we are going to roll.
It's a lost cause.
We're going to generate audience, Ultimate Surfer.
No,
boom.
It's not going to.
Right into pipe.
Well,
yeah, no, it's not going to. So they've lost all their audience.
So to your question, how long does this last? Beach Grit broke a rumor that the WSL is for sale.
I have new information regarding this rumor.
Okay, spill it.
So this is a rumor.
Less substantiated than a regular rumor.
Substantiated from a legitimate source, not inside.
Okay.
Outside.
Okay.
Claimed that Dirk Ziff rolled it out for sale. He only had a couple nibbles of people kicking the tires. He rolled it out for what he wanted was $150 million that I think wipes out the existing debt and or whatever, like I can't remember why it was $150 million, but there was a reason that it was $150 million. Got a couple nibbles around the $5 to $10 million mark.
Oh my
gosh. Very much underneath what they valued it at, and he took it off. He just realized that there's absolutely no way I am hung with this albatross for the foreseeable future. So my question though is, if you come into It's not going anywhere. No longer for sale, from what I hear. You know, it's back to Santa Monica. You go, let's say Ultimate Surfer doesn't materialize a robust audience. You run your 2021, the new season, whatever, 2021 season, getting half the eyeballs that you got previously. How much longer do you keep doing that? When you realize, okay, we literally are not generating, not only we're not generating new audience, we have shed audience from our last rendition. And or are there enough kind of magic numbers people below where they can always make it look like it's growing?
No,
like
you can only do that for so long.
We had phenomenal growth, Ziff.
You can't. So there's going to be a number of things that happen. This is my prediction. And it starts with pipe not actually running in December. So we both stated earlier, we don't think that's going to happen. So the scenario that you just painted, if the Ultimate Surfer and if this and that, I'm saying those things aren't even going to happen. Like, I don't think the 2021 season starts in December in Hawaii. Oh. So the House of Cards starts falling right there. I also don't think that the Ultimate Surfer is going to resonate with an audience in the way that they want to then, you know, a double or whatever to get more viewers onto the actual contests. So then will you be able to, what's your revenue model look like for 2021 if those things don't happen? So you're going to lose all of the revenues that you were counting on to execute a bunch of your goals. So now your goals become less reliable. Then at a certain point, Eric, let's give credit to where credit's due. Eric Logan is a successful, competent winner. I don't think he wants to be known for this at a certain point. I could see Eric Logan just exiting. Yeah, jumping ship. Like, dude, I tried my best, but this is way too complicated. I don't have any experience running
a sporting
tour. Yeah, a sporting tour.
Which is essentially what it's paring back down to. Right?
It is.
I mean,
yeah,
the whole, we're a media company. Very clearly, they didn't make any media. And so now they're back to a sporting body.
Yeah, I did great with Oprah. I'm going to go do great with YouTube now or Amazon Prime.
Going into Hulu.
Quibi.
Yeah.
Apple Plus.
Not Quibi. I think Quibi's over.
Peacock. Like whatever. The point is there's these legacy media production companies that are super well funded that'll pay him probably double what the WSL is able to. Like he can jump ship to any direction he wants. And by the way, be successful at it.
Sure.
And get patted on the back and lauded. And, you know, so I could see the House of Cards. It doesn't take a lot of things for the House of Cards to actually topple.
I mean, you'd think that Ziff, I mean, it's all just silly, but you'd think that Ziff would say at this point to Eric, hey, you had a year to make content. You didn't make any. Like you were the one who said, this is what we needed to be, we're a media company now. You literally didn't make media.
Yeah.
Like,
and you didn't even partner with the people who were making the media. Like, by the way, while you guys were quarantined, while the WSL was quarantined and not producing content, everybody in the surf space that is an independent content producer was still making content.
Figured it out. Yeah.
So how did they figure it out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I said that House of Cards thing, you just validated it by telling me that the rumor of the rumor of the rumor, where there was a couple of $5 and $10 million bids, gives me the financial information that I didn't have before I made that statement. I haven't seen the financials, but those people did.
Yeah.
And they made an offer that was 1/10, less than 1/10.
Less than a tenth.
What the WSL was asking, which means that there's really no value here.
I mean,
it's an insulting offer. So they're basically saying, hey, we'll take the debt off the books for you.
Yep.
And and then we'll figure out a brand new game plan, because that's going to cost us tens of millions of dollars as well. So we'll take this burden off of your hands. So again, that's where I think Eric Logan, if Eric Logan has that information that you have, I think he needs to start making decisions for himself as a CEO and just a winner, you know?
I mean, I honestly don't see, I
don't see it either. I don't see the way out of this.
Unless Ziff is like, okay, look this is you thought I was a jerk. I am a benevolent man. this is my gift to surfing. I'm going to keep running this tour for all you buttholes. You can keep watching it, complaining about it.
Who's the butthole?
Just all you complainers. Yeah.
Us.
All you nonstop nitpickers. I'm going to just keep running it. I'm going to take a bath on it every year. It's fine. I have enough money. It's fine. we're going to pare down. And so just enjoy it. Unless he is our benevolent friend, which I don't see that as a reality either. He wants to make money off this thing. And there's just, again, I don't see it. I don't see how going back to the tour, unless Australia jumps their tax revenue thing up so much that basically Australia pays for the tour.
So Dirk has played that benevolent role up until now. I don't think he does it indefinitely.
Yeah.
I don't think he does it forever.
How long has the WSL been WSL? 5 years?
5 years, I'd say. Yeah. So
it's it'll
he's 150 mil in the hole right now.
Like the ASP though, it'll fold into something else, and events will continue to happen because somebody's going to figure out how to keep
Red Bull
events going.
I mean,
Red Bull's in hot water right now. Though.
So we'll get to that in 1 second. I do want to say real quickly, in terms of funding, they have sponsors for most of the events next year. I'll read them off to you real quickly. The women's event at Honolulu is sponsored by Shiseido, Sunblock.
Peppers.
Right, exactly. Good PR from their pepper company, the pepper growers.
Pepper Industry Group.
Man, Jalapeno's really sitting down on the job. I would have expected at least Habanero to get in the game. The Pipe event is sponsored by Billabong. Portugal event is Mayo, the telecommunications company. Funnily, the Gold Coast event sponsored by Corona. Rip Curl's doing bells. Margaret does not have a sponsor. Rio has Oi. Surf Ranch does not have a sponsor. G-Land has Quicksilver. J-Bay has Corona. Tahiti has Outer Known.
Outer Known switching around. What happened to Outer Known's 3-year deal with Fiji?
I know.
Interesting.
I know.
Yeah.
Hilarious. They canceled Fiji the very next, 20 minutes after. And the WSL Finals does not yet have a sponsor. So, I don't know what those numbers are, but they certainly aren't funding the whole event like they used to because that business model has changed. So Red Bull, you said, is in hot water.
A real kettle of fish right there.
Tell me what the hot water is.
Well, from what I hear, from what the Business Insider tells me, Red Bull canned its North American canned. Get it?
Canceled.
It's
tall, thin can.
Yep. The night of long, thin cans. Canned its North American CEO and president, who, from all accounts, were very well loved, due some internal memo situations that I think they're, from what I could tell from the Business Insider, the employees were frustrated that Red Bull corporate didn't have a stronger statement regarding Black Lives Matter or our current racial unrest situation. Austria, being Austria, did not want to do anything, apparently. And then once those memos got leaked, were so infuriated that they fired CEO and president, which, according to the Business Insider again, very much frustrated rank and file North American employees. So there may be a full-on
Facebook situation.
Exodus from Red Bull.
So Red Bull is HQ'd in Austria.
Yep.
And the CEO in the US and some of the higher level execs were asking for them to make a more public statement and take a more public stance.
I think we're feeling that, and or there were employees at the North America who wanted that, and then we're petitioning their CEO, the North American CEO and president, and then those memos got leaked with the CEO and president, I think, coming down on the side of we should be taking a more firm position on this.
And presumably those employees, because they weren't seeing the action being taken that they were asking for, they then leaked.
Exactly.
Interesting.
That's the way it seemed.
So, yeah, I mean, it is interesting that I guess Black Lives Matter obviously was founded in America, and that is the epicenter of the movement. So it would make sense that the American leg of the company would feel more staunchly about it than HQ would or whoever else. But it's interesting that their own company would cancel them. Like that's an interesting response from HQ to fire.
Especially, I mean,
I guess if you're going against the brand by leaking of the documents is the problem here. The wanting to take a stance on Black Lives Matter is not the problem. And even disagreeing with HQ is not the problem. It's the leaking of the documents so as to vilify HQ.
I'll be curious how Red Bull spins out of this though. This is it's
not a deal breaker for Red. I mean, it's not,
but it's one of those things that could potentially start to snowball out of PR control because there's other stuff too, right? I mean, Red Bull in the Beach Grit story, like at one of their Flugtag, they're like, I don't know, fly planes in the water events in Russia. They had guys in blackface, running at chasing a banana and Obama or something. I mean, it was profoundly racially insensitive. And so if more of this stuff starts coming up where Red Bull starts getting painted, and the fact that it is Austrian, other things came from Austria too that weren't quite so ideologically
track record. I guess it's interesting that when something like this, when one thread gets pulled,
you never know.
The internet starts going, like the cancel culture internet starts doing a deep dive to find where all the skeletons are hidden.
And all of this, I mean, people could have total fatigue.
They could.
And all of this could just blow right over and no big deal. But I mean, I would imagine if you're Red Bull, that was not a good day of news. But also, why are you firing
That's the problem.
You were the one who made the issue. Like, you were that aggrieved in Austria that, I mean, wouldn't the issue have been best solved by a quiet slap on the wrist?
In a company that giant, first of all,
billions
with an M.
Yeah.
There's going to be dissension among the ranks.
Sure.
No matter what, because there's so many layers to it. There's also going to be skeletons in the closet because there's so many layers to it. So even if it's not from the owner of the company, there's going to be countless executives who have tweeted something questionable, who have very questionable search histories on their computers, who have, like whatever, that if the internet wanted to really do the deep dive and do enough digging, they could unearth stuff that would be a PR nightmare for them. They're a fascinating company.
Red Bull.
So they make an energy drink.
Yep.
They started making an energy drink in 1984, but they become a legitimate media house and they dominate action sports.
I mean, they dominate many sports.
It's crazy.
They dominate like alternative sports and mainstream sports too.
I know.
Yeah.
All because they were selling energy drinks. Like it's a fascinating company and
that they didn't even make. He got the energy drink from Thailand.
Yeah.
Which Thailand still has the license on that.
Do they?
So you get, in Thailand, you get original Red Bull still.
Okay.
Maybe it was Indonesia. I can't remember.
No, it's Thailand.
Yeah.
It is Thailand. Yeah. It's a really fascinating.
Yeah. Would you want Red Bull to swoop in and take over?
I'm not opposed to it. They've done a phenomenal job with the events that they do in surfing. The Red Bull Cape Fear event is phenomenal. The pipe, aren't they involved with the Vulcan Pipe Pro?
They do the broadcast
the broadcasting. Okay.
Yeah. But I think they just run the broadcast.
Okay.
I don't think they.
But they do a great job with it.
Yeah.
And the surf films that they end up buying after they're made, Let's Be Frank and the Ian Walsh movie and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, they're funding those.
Yeah. But I don't know that they were funding those from the outset.
Yeah.
I feel, are they?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I know there's examples. There's definitely examples of projects that they are responsible for producing.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Let's Be Frank,
I mean, maybe not Let's Be Frank.
It was kind of like it was out there. They like released it on iTunes and all that, and then within a week or two, it was on Red Bull. I feel like Red Bull came in after the fact.
But I think Risk they
did
from the start. Yeah,
totally, because that's one of our sponsors.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing is I've been happy with everything that they've done in the surf space, not only in regard to contests, but sponsorships.
Yeah.
Like they come in and they just start throwing money around it, Julian Wilson, like athletes that deserve it, Carissa Moore, qualified, competent, really like world title potential athletes, Kano Igarashi, Chloe Andino. So I think it's good for the sport, and they're super competent and capable of doing what we would want our championship tour to be able to do. So I'd be okay with that. Okay. They'd be the only people. I mean, there's not a lot of people that I think are qualified to take over the mess.
No, I mean, that Red Bull would be, I think, the only potential suitor, I would imagine, who could do it. But I'm sure Red Bull knows it, and Red Bull just like, I'm sure says to or thinks to Ziff and those guys, hey, we'll wait until you completely fail, and then we'll figure out what we can do.
And Red Bulls might have been slighted by them in the past because WSL athletes, can't compete in the Red Bull events.
I think they kind of sorted that out. I think they both realized, I mean, probably WSL realized, this is a silly enemy to have.
Yeah.
We should be allies.
Yeah.
But,
well,
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Let's go to commercial.
Exciting.
We'll come back with a couple quarantine content recommendations for people's streaming pleasure.
Great.
I've got listener feedback, and I've got Barrel or Not.
Great.
All right, we'll be back. All right, Chaz, we're back.
Great.
Have you, by the way, remember last week we were talking about lake life versus beach life?
The worst. Lake
life is the worst. And you're talking about salt water.
Yes.
Like you like having a crust of salt on you so the dog licks you when you come home.
Yep.
Listener sent feed or a link to surfertoday.com showcasing all of the benefits of salt water. Salt water cleans your skin. The mineral salt team up with the sun to regenerate your skin.
Perfect.
As a result, ulcers, lupus, acne, psoriasis are some of the diseases that can easily be cured by salt water.
So long.
Easily.
No problem.
Now, interestingly, the sun can do harm to your skin.
No.
It can.
Oh, yeah. It gives you cancer.
Can. So you want to, but salt water.
Yeah.
So you want to do the sun in moderation, but salt water.
In not moderation.
Full-fledged salt water.
Bath.
It also strengthens the immune system.
Of course
this is related to COVID.
Of course it does.
So the number of red blood cells increases between 5 and 20% after a swim or bath in the sea. The number of white blood cells increases even more. Seawater is a fantastic medicine for people with a weakened immune system, anemia, and high blood sugar levels.
We know this.
Salt water slows down the development of rheumatism.
Good.
Salt water reduces and eliminates anxiety.
Of course it does.
That's interesting. Because it contains magnesium, salt water will calm you down. People who live a stressful life are advised to go to the beach not only for its relaxing atmosphere, but also because of the medical properties of seawater.
No doubt. None of these, by the way, are in lake water. Not one of these things.
Exactly.
Not one.
Salt water improves breathing, cleans out the large intestine.
Of course it does.
Which relates to...
Yeah. How'd it go? Describe real quickly.
It went well.
Will you do it again?
No. So last week, after we recorded this, I went and got my first ever colonic.
Yep.
And the idea being, or the reason behind it was, I just don't feel as great as I once did.
Malaise. A general malaise.
A general lowering of my overall
Yep.
My feeling of wellness, you know? I eat well, I get exercise, I'm in the salt water, I'm in the sun, I should feel fantastic, but I just don't feel as fantastic as I did 3 years ago and 5 years ago, and slowly as I age, right? So I heard from a number of people, you feel phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal afterwards, right? So my girlfriend actually pitched the idea originally, and I was like, if you're just coming home and explaining the scenario to me, like we need to be in this together essentially. Yeah. And so we did, we weren't in the same room or anything like that. She did her appointment, left. I did my appointment afterwards. Short answer is it's not as life-changing as I had hoped that it would be.
Okay.
I expected to come out of there feeling
glowing,
sprightly, glowing, and from what I've heard from other people, feeling great for the next week or two.
Yep.
I didn't really feel that much different, but it also wasn't as uncomfortable as I thought it would be.
Okay.
It wasn't that big of a deal.
So it's just is what it is.
it kind of is what it is, unless you have problems, I think. So I asked the woman, which the woman was amazing.
Yeah.
That is kind of the more interesting part. But I asked her, why do people normally come in? What are they dealing with? She goes, dude, people don't crap for a week.
Wow.
And so they're backed up and they need help. Like they
So
need
we just
actual
blast
medical intervention, essentially. Yeah. So you could imagine if that was this life you were leading, then it would feel amazing to get relief from that.
5 days worth of
crazy,
crap.
Right?
Yeah.
And she said with regularity, like it's crazy. So, me on the other hand, I'm a once a day kind of regular flow. I eat well. I eat plenty of fiber, fruits and vegetables. I don't have any problems. So this didn't really solve my problem.
Okay.
Or my general malaise.
Sure. This is kind of what I'm hearing is it's kind of like the WSL 1 day final. That's okay, but unnecessary.
You do it once and you realize it was a mistake.
Yeah.
You realize,
or not even that it was a mistake. Just like fine enough.
You realize you didn't need a strange woman getting up in your business.
Was it uncomfortable her getting up in your business?
No, surprisingly, no.
Like zero.
Very little.
You weren't like squirming.
It was noticeable. No squirm at all. No squirm at all.
Is it like a warm nozzle?
Warm, well lubricated, and not that girthy.
Okay.
So really minimal discomfort.
Okay.
But she's injecting water into your colon, and that is a stomach discomfort. Like it's weird feeling.
So you feel like you're getting weirdly full.
Like you're going to diarrhea everywhere. Ooh. Like it's weird feeling.
Which you are, essentially.
You are, essentially, yeah. It was bizarre. But she was the best part of this scenario. So who would do this for a living?
Yeah.
And not only is she choosing to do this for a living,
this is her life's work.
She's passionate about it.
Her life's work.
Passionate.
Yeah.
She is more passionate about what she's doing than you and I are about surfing.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird.
So she was like, okay, was she telling you this is going to be life-changing? You're welcome to colonics.
Kind of. She said,
I am going to
she's
blow
been doing it for
your mind.
25 years. And the reason why she got into it is because it blew her mind when she experienced a colonic 25 years ago.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, look, I'm healthy and whatever. She has to look into the abyss of some horrible looking overweight people that are backed up. That's a nightmare. And she's passionate about it.
Was she disappointed with your lack of robust response after? When you
said,
she was. I did okay. Was she what?
I think she was a little bit.
Yeah, I would have been.
And I think she also, again, given what I'm telling you about her passion, I think there's something sexual in it for her.
She was just into it.
A little too much.
Okay.
A little too much.
Did you feel uncomfortable?
No. I never felt like anything was going to go beyond the medical kind of procedure. And I am fully equipped to navigate out of here as quickly as possible. But she's taken a little too much joy in this.
Really liked it. So what is your recommendation to is your recommendation vis-a-vis the colonic? If the listener / viewer is extra backed up, go for it.
That's your only solution.
If not,
avoid it.
Avoid it. Okay.
Yep.
Good advice though.
Yep.
I feel sound advice.
I'd take one for the team occasionally.
Yeah.
For all you listeners out there who were considering it because I was hyping it last week, back off.
Okay.
Back off.
Fantastic to know.
Yep.
Wow. Thanks, David Lee.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Greatest thing I've watched in the last couple of weeks.
What you got?
The movie Palm Springs on Hulu.
Oh, really?
It's good.
Okay, I got to get in.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen it advertised, but I think I didn't know if it was a series or a movie. And so
90 minutes.
Okay. In.
Andy Samberg is the lead.
Funny guy.
He is funny. It is a comedy, but I'm going to say it's original.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to sum it up is I haven't seen anything like it ever. It's completely original, completely wrapped my attention for the 90 minutes. So much of what I watch nowadays, I'm distracted by my phone or whatever. It's not great enough to fully maintain my attention. This was the greatest 90 minutes. And by the way, Kevin Miller from the Florida Surf Film Festival is the one, because I had seen it advertised too.
There's a recommendation from Kevin Miller.
His wife worked at Sundance Film Festival.
Oh yeah.
And that's partially why Kevin runs the Surf Film Festival, is because that's part of his passion and that's part of her professional background. And so they had gone to Sundance last year. So I had seen it advertised on Hulu and I felt the same way you did. And then when he posted on Instagram, he goes, dude, Palm Springs is now available on Hulu. It was the best film that we saw last year at Sundance, and I'm so thrilled it's available now. So I was like, perfect. That's all the recommendation I need. Watched it, felt the exact same way.
Okay.
Super good.
Tonight, watching Palm Springs.
You'll love it.
Very excited.
Yeah, it's fun. All right. Should we do barrel or nah?
Let's do it.
All right. Carrying a knife.
Ooh, I'm going to go barrel. As a kid, I remember the first pocket knife I got. It was a buck knife. I thought I was so cool having my buck knife. And
how old?
I was probably 6 or 7.
Wow. It's young to be carrying a knife.
Well, I mean, it was a little pocket knife, right? Like just
I thought you said buck.
Buck knife. That's what it's called, a buck knife. But it's like
what
buck
makes
is the
it
brand.
buck?
Buck is the brand.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think of a buck knife as being like a certain size.
No, I think you're thinking of a Bowie knife. That's a Bowie knife. That's a specific kind of knife. A buck knife is just a brand. They make all kind of knives. My little pocket knife gave me such great pleasure that I wished, and then later graduating into the Swiss Army or playing with my dad's Swiss Army, like all of the ones that had the toothpicks and whatnot in them. I've always been a knife fan. I don't carry, but a fan of the pocket knife.
So that is, to my point, is carrying a knife in adulthood. Like you'll be, let's say you need to open a box or something and you're out in public or whatever at the beach and you're in the back of your car and you need to cut something and somebody goes, oh, I got a knife. And they just whip out of their back pocket or even worse on their belt holder. They have an actual case for it and they whip that thing out. And I look at that guy and I think,
ready for anything.
I appreciate his readiness. That's a good
look.
Yeah, good, virtuous kind of thing. But what do you think you're going to encounter in your life where you need a knife other than a box? I mean, do you think that there's going to be like a coyote that jumps out and you're going to have to defend yourself?
Bear, maybe.
Maybe a cat burglar? What?
I'm telling you, get yourself a pocket knife, put it in your knife pocket of your jean.
The fifth pocket?
The fifth pocket. Just walk around for a minute. Don't get caught going to the airport. I've had to cough up a pocket knife at the airport before.
I've lost one at a concert.
Yeah.
But okay, if it's in the fifth pocket and I go to sit down, I can't bend my leg because the knife's blocking it.
Pretty cool.
You got to take that out every time?
You take your knife out and slap it on the table.
I can't even get my finger in that fifth pocket to slide it out.
You just got to find the right knife for you.
What do you think the size is of the right knife for me?
2 inches.
Okay.
3 inches.
Okay.
Flip out blade.
Okay.
Cutting boxes, cutting cheese, cutting apples, cutting...
That guy, so the guy who carries the knife is willing to cut anything that you... If you had an apple, he would just be like, you want me to cut that for you?
I'll cut that apple. You could whittle when you're bored. Grab a stick and just start whittling.
Okay.
I'm telling you, knife is... We need a proper surf knife. I feel that it's a category that surf has not done. I feel we could crush a surf knife. It could have a fin key also on it.
Wax comb.
A little wax comb could flip out. That's a fantastic idea we just had here. Surf knife.
Yeah. We come up with a lot.
All the time. Yeah, barrel.
I also question that dude, though. The dude is always weird.
He's always weird, but he's ready for anything. When the apocalypse hits, really? I mean,
you want to be friends with that guy.
You want to be friends with the weird knife guy.
But I don't want to hang out with him over drinks.
But imagine, though, if you're there with your soda drink, there's a lemon on the tree. He just goes and plucks the lemon. Cut. Lemon in your soda drink.
It might be worth it to have him around, even though like he's going to bring up weird conspiracy theories and like the dark web.
It's totally worth.
It'll be worth it when he's able to cut things that I need cut.
When he's willing, when you have a beautiful slice of apple with a perfect piece of cheese on top of it, then any conspiracy listening is worth that.
Okay. So I shouldn't carry a pocket knife. I should bring the guy who carries the pocket knife.
I'm going to say also, try to be the guy who carries the pocket knife.
All right.
Try to work into being the guy.
Your experience from childhood, I have that same nostalgia for pocket knives. There was some sales related thing, you know, when you're a kid and like you're in Boy Scouts or whatever it is, maybe Little League, because I was never in Boy Scouts. They give you these like, here's a catalog. You got to sell candy bars or whatever it is. And then you can get stuff out of this catalog. One of the things in the catalog was a pocket knife.
Yeah.
And I tried to convince my dad, like, hey, can I please be trusted with this responsibility? And it was probably about the same age as you, maybe 8. And he acquiesced. He's like, you can get the pocket knife. So I got the pocket knife, and he gave me this long lesson of here's how you use it. And you got to be careful. Right. I immediately went outside and started like digging in the garden with it and pushed I tried to close the blade, but pushed the blade rather than the back of the blade accidentally and sliced my thumb, and was so worried that I was going to get in trouble from my dad that I went and put a Band-Aid on it and then rubbed the Band-Aid in dirt so it looked like an old Band-Aid, because I knew if he saw a brand new Band-Aid, he would know it was related to the pocket knife. So sure enough, over lunch, he's like, dude, David, did you cut yourself with a pocket knife? And I'm like, nope, this happened earlier in the week at school.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, how? And I had no backup story. I thought I could get away with just that. I had no backup for how it had happened. And he was able to identify it. And I got in trouble for lying.
Did you lose pocket knife privilege?
I think I did.
Oof.
But I think I mainly remember just getting in trouble for lying.
Okay.
You know?
Well, that's good.
But yeah.
As you should have.
Yep. All right. So barrel on
Big barrel.
carrying a knife. Barrel or nah, posting about your birthday on social media.
Nah.
This is so obviously nah, but this is a new trend. And it used to be reserved for the fairer sex.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, turning 21, female post with like her friends drinking because it's the first time going out to the bar legally without using the fake ID. I've seen males now posting a selfie saying, thrilled, you know, just 25 is a new year.
35 rotations around the sun.
Like dudes who I kind of like and respect, and now I have to downgrade them in my mind.
Yeah. It's a big no. It is big no. There's something about still stoicism in a man, and I know that it's a trait that I think is not well loved anymore, but
it's overlooked.
Just be quiet. Sit there and be quiet, especially about your damn birthday.
Says the two guys talking for 90 minutes a week.
Jabbering nonstop. But regarding birthdays, no. When's your birthday?
October 1st.
When your birthday starts coming around, do you start hinting lightly?
I don't even want to acknowledge my birthday.
Yep.
I have Hitler had a birthday.
Yep.
Like Charles Manson had a birthday. Like every human being has had a birthday. I am not special because of this thing.
Are you happy when your birthday goes by more or less unnoticed? Or do you think, I would have liked a little bit more attention than I got?
I want zero attention.
Okay.
Zero.
Good.
I like attention for things that I have earned.
Yes.
So like if I've done some level of good work.
You want some attention. I
would appreciate, you know, a pat on the back and people going, hey, I really appreciated that. That was great. Good job. Your, I don't know what, your hard work paid off. And so I want to congratulate you on that hard work. I feel good about that level of attention.
Yeah.
But if it's superficial attention, or again, attention for something that every single human being on the planet over all history and all time has had, then I'm not, that doesn't make me special.
What if your girlfriend, this next birthday, boom, the big surprise. Like you walk into Chili's and it is packed. 50 to 80 of your closest friends, relatives, long lost people coming back into your life. I mean, would you be like, oh, well, that was fun? Or would you be like gritting your teeth the entire Chili's adventure?
I'd like to see all those people. I don't need it to be about me. You know, like if they're all there focusing their attention on me, I'm not comfortable with that level of attention.
Yeah.
I get uncomfortable with that.
Great.
But I would like to see all those people.
Sure.
So, and by the way, plan that day for the anniversary of when we first launched the podcast, because that's something to celebrate.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like pick a more meaningful day.
Should we what podcast are we on?
I want to say 77.
Somewhere around there. We're rounding the bend though. Within sometime this coming year we'll hit 100, right?
Yeah.
Should we throw a big public party for our 100th podcast?
That'd be amazing. Yes, we should.
Okay.
We definitely should.
Okay.
This is 77. I just looked it up.
That's perfect because
that's worth celebrating.
And 23 podcasts, 23 weeks. COVID will be done by then, right? 23 weeks.
Hopefully.
That's like a lot of months.
Hopefully.
How many months is that? That's 6 months, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. So what is behind the dude posting on Instagram for his own birthday?
I think
is this narcissism?
No, I just think the unfortunate strokes you get, like that kick your brain, whatever. I read somewhere that like getting a like, you get a surge of dopamine similar to, all those reports, something else that makes you feel happy. So I think the strokes you get, even if you, and because you'll see the ones too, like not really wanting to admit it, but they really want the feel good, like happy birthday, a lot of comment kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll do kind of the, oh man, getting older sure does feel bummer,
right.
But whatever, like trying to kind of backdoor into getting it. But I think people just really I think people are lonely, probably especially lonely in the coves, and then just wanting the strokes, the birthday strokes. Man,
now that makes me sad and sympathetic for them.
You should. Every male you see, you shouldn't shame out of doing it. You should say,
give them what
happy birthday, buddy.
Got to give them what they want.
Happy birthday, friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have these conversations.
It is
so I can reset.
It is no barrel to do, big barrel to wish somebody happy birthday on Instagram.
You just don't want to be the guy who's actually posting it.
No.
You should support
the guy. If the guy needs to be supported, he very clearly is reaching out for,
exactly.
for something.
Totally.
Yeah.
Final barrel or not for the day. Shark Week.
I don't know how Shark Week is still going, and this is probably exactly how people feel about Beach Grits Shark articles.
That's why I bring it up.
Yeah. I've never been a fan of Shark Week, never watched it, never cared about it. And then the more and more gimmicky it's gotten. Last year, somebody fought a shark, I can't remember, or a dinosaur fought a shark, or so. What was it? A bear fought a shark?
Yeah, it was a grizzly bear.
Something like that. Yeah. This year, Mike Tyson is fighting a shark. Very clearly not. It's going to be Mike Tyson, just like they did with the dumb grizzly bear thing. Like they'll have scientists talking about the strength of Mike Tyson's punch versus the strength of a shark's bite. And at the end, one of them will win the theoretical bout. But no, enjoy Beach Grits Shark articles. But that is my capacity for Shark.
Shark Week has turned into Shark Year on Beach Grit.
It has.
What Discovery Channel figured out was, did anybody even know about Discovery Channel prior? It was like kind of for science nerds, maybe.
Yep.
At the time, it had like this very niche kind of applicability and audience. And through one programming decision, they have become almost the most famous. Like that is the biggest branding move ever. And, have lived off it for a decade now.
Sharks move the needle, man. Sharks still move the needle. That's why Beach Grit does it. I know people get frustrated. I know it's a pain to scroll through them, but in truth, that's the way we're able to do what we do, more or less. Have been. Like that's how we can get outside of the typical surf bubble, and not have to do dumb, stupid, whatever else people make money. That's what we do. That's our dumb, stupid way.
So barrel or not on Shark Week?
I'm not on Shark Week, but barrel on sharks.
Okay.
The Shark Week itself, I just don't know what. It's really rude. I should listen to my own criticism here. I just don't know what else there is to learn about sharks at this point.
I've never watched a single episode of any Shark Week programming ever.
Have you accidentally stumbled in on somebody watching Shark Week and or somebody flicking past Shark Week?
I don't even think I have access to Shark Week. I've had cable. I don't have cable now, but I probably had it for a decade or two of my life. I don't know if I even had the Discovery Channel during that time.
Yeah. So you're no barrel on Shark Week.
Good for the Discovery Channel, but no, it doesn't add any value to my life in any way. I liked seeing Mike Tyson though.
Here's the thing. Yeah, Mike Tyson looked good. And viciously punching surfboards to show his fitness. Did you see that?
And I like that you identified it as an unglassed surfboard.
It was.
Because I could punch through that.
Let's be honest here. Did it even have a stringer in it? Might have been stringerless.
It did.
Real quick though, sharks are endlessly fascinating. Oh, like the one that just jumped and plucked a boy off the boat in Australia.
The headline.
Great white plucked a boy off a boat.
How did it actually happen?
He jumped out of the water and grabbed the boy and pulled the boy into the water.
So I'm envisioning him arcing over the boat, tipping his head down, pulling the kid with him. That no chance that happened.
No.
He like bobbed up. The kid was probably sitting on the edge of the boat. The shark saw like what looked like bait hanging off of the boat, and he just bobbed up like Jaws does and pulled him in.
Something like that.
Okay.
But still fascinating.
It is fascinating.
I mean, and terrifying.
In the scenario where sharks become smarter and start adapting to people that aren't in the water, like that's scary.
I take it back. I'm barrel on Shark Week. The tracking sharks as they get smarter and as we get dumber. Sharks, people are going this way. Sharks are going this way. At some point,
We're going to meet in the middle.
we're going to meet in the middle. People are going to be as smart as sharks. And then there's going to be a battle royale.
Sharks with freaking laser beams on their forehead.
Exactly. But maybe Mike Tyson is basically as smart as a shark. And so this is like this is the future. We're just getting a early glimpse of what the future will be.
So if the Discovery Channel actually gets the world's smartest shark
Yep.
against Mike Tyson, you're right. That could be the nexus.
It could be they exactly the same intelligent.
Yeah. Amazing.
Fascinating.
It really is fascinating.
Yeah.
I think the shark would win the fight, by the way.
I mean, Iron Mike's got a robust left hook.
It's a vicious punch, but he can hit that thing in the side. Like, I don't think the shark even
I think if he hit the shark in the eye, he could pop that shark's eye right out of his head.
They say if you are attacked by a shark, go for the eye or the gills.
Yeah.
Like sticking your hand in the gills is uncomfortable for them.
I think Mike Tyson could kill a shark with one left body blow to the gills.
Not immediately. The shark would swim away in pain and then die from internal bleeding.
Yeah, but I think it would leave Iron Mike alone.
Yeah. Well, Discovery Channel has a lot to unpack there. And honestly, that could be a movie. It could be more than one episode.
Sure.
This could become like Sharknado 8.
Mike Tyson
Tyson versus in outer space.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, beachgrit.com is where they go, right? Or youtube.com.
Come to YouTube, man.
Come to YouTube. Here's the deal. We can't monetize the page. There's a button you click so that I click monetize, the ads that run, we get a portion of.
Wow.
But we can't do that until we get 1,000 subscribers, which is far fewer than the number of people listening right now. So everybody listening right now, go click subscribe just so that even if you're not going to watch, click the button so we can get monetized.
Want to know what I'm going to do?
Tell me.
I got a box coming. Got an early box. Reports from Hell, a hardcover, just hot off the presses. Box is coming. I will give a book away, but how do we figure out who to give it away to? I'll just give it away
next week. Let's figure it out next week.
Yeah, if you subscribe this week, we'll figure out how to find one of you.
I could look who all has subscribed in the last week and we'll give them a book.
Done.
Okay.
Not all of them, but one of them.
We'll advertise or we will reveal that person next Friday on the Grit. One of our YouTube subscribers from this past week.
A book.
In early
pre-publication.
Pre-pub.
Comes out August 11th. So you will get it 10 days probably.
Will you sign it for him?
Heck yeah.
Who covers the shipping costs?
I'll cover the shipping costs.
Done.
If we get 1,000 subscribers,
done.
1,000.
Yep. All right. Sweet. That's a great gift.
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right. At Surf Journalist. At Surf Splendor. Beachgrit.com.
All you need.
Albumsurf.com.
Swing on by. They're open.
All right.
It's an essential business. It's Orange County.
Until next week, Chaz.
Get barrel.